look at the game, Tom. We're about to get into our hero picks, and right away, the pre-selection heroes hovering the thing. That's what we're expecting. The question is, our team's going to be banning out the thing?
I don't know. I would like to see a Captain America Thor. Like, that's something that I just enjoy playing in ranked because of the team up, like the little lightning boost that you get alongside. I think is very, very cool, and the amount of damage you can get off of that. Immediately, though, it's still going to be some of the sort of trickier team ups. You're going to lose that Psylocke. You don't want that DPS lurking in the backgrounds, causing you issues. So understandable. I like the protect on the Lunar Snow, though. I do wonder if that means that we'll get a Namor ban, depending if the opposing side is gonna. But it depends if they want to play it as well. Maybe not.
Already as well, you know what, Mantis gone. That's your Adam Warlock Mantis combo. Your Star-Lord in there as well. So Sykes, who clearly wanted to play the Psylocke, won't be getting that chance. Won't really get the chance to confidently. Interesting that they go for the Cloak and Dagger Protect. Again, we just had that conversation about how at high level, this is a real fall off of a hero, but they've decided to come in with the protection. Fair enough. Now, the question is, like you said, is this going to be a Namor ban? It's a very big risk. If you know Luna Snow is going to be on the other side, probably they want Namor, but Bucky gets the respect instead. Again, very strong hero in the current meta, and with a rocket position and healer meta at the moment as well, just does suit you to get rid of Bucky off rip.
I do wonder if maybe we're going to see the Moon Knight. And actually, well, you mentioned the team up. Both are gone. It's going to be the Star-Lord removed as well. So we're still seeing the Adam Warlock selected. Obviously, I think, the good opportunity for a Luna Namor. I think that's such a powerful combination. That extra little squiddy with the ice powers, I think, has always been so strong last time out where we watched. So I don't think there's any real surprises that if you're going to have both of those heroes free to pick, that they will be coming in.
Yeah, now, again, Groot's someone that we didn't touch on, but Groot's in a very, very healthy spot at the moment. When it comes to the walls in play, blocking out heals, such an annoyance. You can be isolated out of position so quickly, let alone the damage that he's doing and the ability to just frontline tank alongside what we've got going on for Mr. Donuts, which is a Magneto. So you've got that extra bubble. This is not a very high mobility comp, but when you're looking at Namor being in here, that makes sense as well. Sykes is still going to play that backline lurker, looking for the DPS in the background. Not on the Psylocke, of course, due to the bans, but at least able to get the magic into play. And look, when you look at a high-level magic player, it is frustrating to play against, at least in my ranked games. Once someone knows how to play magic, it's a nightmare. So we'll see if Sykes can find the value there. Immediately, an Iron Man. I can't say I was expecting to see this pick off rip from Zaza Demons.
Yeah, no, looking to obviously not needing the team up quite as much as before when it comes to Hulk, and already getting into some of those initial battles with the beam. I think Magneto was definitely an expectation with how strong he has been consistently, but I'm definitely happy to see some Groot straight in on the action.
Yeah, really getting busy, taking the fight up top and eliminating your Iron Man off rip. Now the change in from Zaza Demon's going to be going to the Storm, but out of the fight for now, as all this damage by Sykes is adding up to 1 kill, and it's a healer down. Down goes Squirrel Girl and Luna as well. No choice but to reset at this point. The fight's already done in favor of Mr. Donuts.
Yeah, they're just getting absolutely bullied by this combination, like fighting forward with the magic, utilizing that soul sword to try and do as much early contention. This is something we see quite often, is once you have that point, once you have that control, it's trying to just delay them coming out of the spawn. It's quite a long walk back to get anywhere near the site, and just catching them in a choke point can be so difficult to get out of.
That's a little concerning. Zaza Demon, really floating around here. They're trying to find their rhythm in this game, trying to find the comp that's going to work, but nothing is working just yet. Squirrel Tsunami sent out, but the damage is just nullified. The dance has begun on both sides as in comes Meteor M. Good connection, and it's Mr. Donuts coming out ahead in that first fight. But Namor's gone down, and Invisible Woman ult popped defensively to keep them in this fight, keep them healthy, but it's good damage. If Mansalute can keep this up, maybe they'll be able to turn the tide, not least as well when when you look at the fact that there's a Magneto ult online alongside Zazat Demons, a very powerful combination, able to get in your face with the thing, push them back, and get shielded up when trouble comes. It's worked out well for them, still keeping clobbering time online for the next fight. That's a great recovery from oMxPK, who just felt like they were in free fall with all those comm switches, but now they've found an identity.
Yeah, I'd say as well, like, another change that we've witnessed is that Squirrel Girl coming into play. A lot of the time, finishing your dinner can be a little bit more difficult, but just the sheer amount of damage that is being done. A second ult already being thrown through after one used early on. However, Pumas is going to be able to close out the Squirrel, and then already looking to sort of grasp them all together. A lot of damage being done, however, by the Magneto. They will be able to survive at least on the edge.
Yeah, I guess the question was, could oMxPKc actually do the damage with the triple tank comp? The Vanguards really not dishing out as much damage as you would think, and when Manslute goes down, that's a big problem. Meteor M in as well, looking for victims, not finding them. No eliminations on that side as the dance keeps oMxPK in this game for now. Zazat Demons hunting down the kill, and that's a huge pick as well, eliminating some of the damage and now some of the healing as well. This round done and dusted as they'll push up closer to that 100% mark. And oMxPK, just a formality to finish off those final kills.
Fojo just pulling out the whip just to chase down the final opponent. Maybe one more chance to try and get back in here, especially with the potential for Portal, but it almost seems like, yeah, they're just waiting to get back in, group up, try and go together, but this needs to be an almost flawless fight.
Interesting pick as well. Wolverine, if the Moore was still online, this could be a problem, but oMxPKc have switched off. So a little bit more room than the thing eliminated, and that's one of the big problems that you'll often run into when you talk about...
Jumped out of the sky!
That's not a bad pick. Sykes had been on Magic, but instead goes up in the sky, thinks he can get away, and there's no hit scam, but, well, those little acorns were landing their shots indeed. Aggressive, sort of forced back here again as the dance comes into play for Luna Snow on oMxPK. They're stalling out. They're running that clock at 99% maximum pulse, and it lands on one. That's a healer down. Cloak ult used to try to stem the bleeding. It's getting damage out of this as well. Not bad. It'll at least put oMxPKc in a decent spot. The fight on the site not yet done, seems favored, but somehow the damage is done in the back by Fumers. At least the one pickup, and the dance keeping them alive on site. They'll stall out for a moment, but eventually they step off the point.
Yeah, forced off the site at the end. There was definitely some craziness. I don't think I've ever seen anyone fly through the air, pull out an Eye of Agamotto to drop an Iron Man. It's like, that's definitely a new one. It made those Acorns even easier to sort of connect onto in that matchup. But yeah, a decent recovery, so especially with the way that started out. It looked like it was going to be a complete whitewash on the site, but a decent response, a decent resurgence, and looking to potentially have to turn things back around for map number 2.
Get ready.
Well, that's it. Coming into this second point, a challenge early on for oMxPKc seemed to be just, like I said, figuring out how they wanted to play this. We ended up with switches from Zazat Demons between the Iron Man, the Storm, going on to then the Thing, where they very much rested. And I think that those early fights, that extra DPS wanted, but really wasn't working for them. Now they're going to move back. Double tank, sensible comp as well with the Thing and Magneto. You've got no more Luna Snow as well. This combination going to be very powerful if they can get boots on the ground and get onto the point. While Mr. Donuts have switched away, they're keeping, and I think this is a mistake, they're keeping Wolverine up against Magneto with the bubbles and the Thing. These are hard counters with, I guess there's no Invisible Woman at least. Oh, off rip, the ult is online. In come the squirrels, and that's a lot of damage done in the choke point. And the Acorn, not quite gonna land, but surely they've already pushed them back into a reset.
This is the difficult prospect. Another map where, okay, you can fight for the point, but you have to cross initially And then there's a lot that you can sort of do, like that you can basically break the map apart and change the lanes in which your opponents look to fight. This is aggressive from Zaza, but knowing that a squishy opponent is on the other side, Batum will go down, keeping them with the point and keeping them with the advantage. Gonna have to wait to get that Storm back online. Obviously, the damage boost that you garner from having her in position can be huge. Now moving over to a solo Vanguard as well. That Strange is gonna have to do a great job.
That's gonna be tough. They've got big, high-impact duelist ultimates to work with over on the side of Mr. Donuts, but on oMxPKc, they've got Fervoyo going deep, taking one, and now on the side itself, Iron Man tries to get the ult out, but Benji's picked him out of the sky. That's it. That could have been a wipe. They were grouped up, ready to roll, but Mr. Donuts forced into another reset, and a costly one as well, with that ult invested, not just on Syx, but on Vrazzle as well. They put Cloak and Daggers into that, hoping to garner the space, but they're decimated in that duel. 62% already, and Mr. Donuts, they're going to have to recover in this fight.
Yeah, we've seen this prior already. Looking to battle out with the Storm. Ultimate, it can do so much damage. The potential for 3, maybe even 4. A Quadra on the site. You spoke about a turning tide. Well, that might just be it.
Well, when Syx's ult wasn't the one they needed, they are certainly happy they had so many high-impact ones to fall back onto. That's huge. What a start. A potential combo as well, just looking at what oMxPKc have online. If Namor can connect and leave those players on the floor, well, Mansalute is going to be doing a lot with the Squirrel Tsunami. They would be vulnerable picks for the taking, and looks like they're getting into position now for this big site push. Tsunami already put into play. Aya Bagamoto, though, committed out of Mr. Donuts. It's going to cause problems. I think they shielded most of what was going down, and in fact, it's oMxPKc winning the fight. Stalled out for a moment. Ult used by Aggressive. Block as well onto the Namor ult, and an immediate shutdown of him too. I thought that they were really struggling in this fight, but the recovery is clear from Mr. Donuts. That big ultimate from Aggressive has bought them the time that they needed. They've got a pick which slows down that output of damage, but Benji's able to still connect one, and with that, a beautiful Magneto combo. A hero is needed and very nearly found. Syx close to the double pickoff that would have put them back on that site, and instead it's a tank, a Vanguard going down on Mr. Donuts that will force the reset as Fumers takes all the damage, and when he falls, it's nothing but connections onto Duelist. 88% on that point, and the ultimate used here by Syx, but the team's not there to capitalize. It's just going to be picked out of the sky. Minimal impact, an immediate shutdown. They are snowballing into this with 99% on the clock. There is no fighting back. This BO3 starts out in favor of oMxPKc.
Yeah, there is a very good reason that you see either the Lunar Snow or the Namor ban, and you could just see the second they had that site control, all the squids are set up. The amount of damage that he is putting down is truly absurd. And well, it mentioned it at the beginning, the sort of reduction in the success of Cloak and Dagger, but the fact is, MVP for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is really it. You know, when we talk about those things, we're looking at how it plays at high level ranked. We're looking at how teams typically have been moving around, but the reality is it's not like Cloak and Dagger's got a 0% win rate, right? Like they're still able to do a lot. And I think you see it though with like the ultimate previously, once it was activated, there will be no picks. You will not lose players. Whereas now it's a little bit more possible, even without the Meteor M coming in for that huge damage. But that conclusion coming into things, for oMxPKc, like I said, this looked like a team I wasn't confident in the first minute or two. They were all over the place with their comp. They were swapping it up constantly, and it looked like they were just grasping for solutions and really not getting their hands into anything. But once they found their identity, once Zaza Demons went onto the thing, it seemed like they had this this whole thing figured out.
Yeah, I'd say as well. I think, again, always talking about those Vanguards, but I'm quite impressed with Benji. I feel like a lot of those final hits were just getting rid of the fate of both worlds. Like just basically coming in and just going, yeah, my Meteor is purely used so that you can't counter out us winning these fights. And I think he did a fantastic job of just picking the right moment. I think there was one whiff in there. I saw one meteor whiff, but the thing is, timing that ultimate correctly can change an entire fight, and I think that he did fantastically well. Also really impressed with the Squirrel Girl. As said, that when we came to the Invitational, I think maybe we saw her come out once and it wasn't particularly effective,
awful.
but that Squirrel Tsunami doing a lot of damage, but also it was just, I feel like that combo with Namor, it's like, if you do even just a bit of chip damage, that Trident becomes an insta-kill. And the second that Trident with the squids is an insta-kill, it felt like game over.
Yeah, and this is the real danger of leaving Namor open, right? Obviously, both teams have access to that combo, and both teams were running it for the majority, but the reality is, if you're the one defending, you're the one they've got to push into your setup squids, it's a different game, right? You've got such a huge advantage, and that's where you need something else to be able to break back through, and I think they did a remarkable job in terms of getting that space, and a lot of that goes to Zaza Demons just diving in on the thing. Again, I really just think in the current state of the game, the thing looks so incredibly strong that it's hard to argue against picking him, especially then when your opponents come in with a Wolverine. That's just directly
immediate veto of Magneto.
Yeah, get rid of him.
Just like, yep, no, Benji kind of diffed us. Let's just get rid of that hero altogether. I respect it. Like, that's the thing. You're only going to learn about your opponent after the first map, so making those decisions, it seems like for the opposing side, it's just the same. Like, we don't want to play against a Psylocke, so we'll just get rid of a Psylocke, which I respect. Like, that's the thing. It's like, if you don't have to adapt too much, and then they've seen, there you go, they've seen the Magneto ban, they go, we would like our other Vanguard, we're going to protect the thing.
Well, see, here's the thing. Being protected over on oMxPKc's side, and Bucky as well getting the protection on the second round. So for Mr. Donuts, a chance to run that Rocket Bucky combo. Maybe we'll even see a Punisher brought through. That could be very, very scary to play against. But like you said, Magneto in current spot, right? If you've got the thing creating all that space for you, the 3-hit combo that you can put into most squishies is way too strong. Like, those eliminations flood in if you're hitting your shots, and what we saw Benji definitely was. So I do like the ban. Groot taken out of play as well. Just an annoyance of a character. We even saw him being used as the hit scan.
It feels like Mr. Donuts are basically just banning out the Vanguards. It's just like, yeah, you wrecked us with Vanguards last map, so we're just going to remove 2 of them and make it that little bit more difficult.
Well, the Hall of Jalia Convergence is where we're going with this one. Round 2, as the first one went to your current blue team, oMxPKc. We'll see where we end up in terms of compositions. Again, last time around, we saw the Mantis removed. We even saw the Star-Lord out of the game as well. And now as we come in, well, this is the result. You take away their Vanguards, and they'll go to another comp. It's going to be your Star-Lord. It's going to be your Adam Warlock, self-rezzing, and the heals alongside DPS possibility. The backline assault as well can be so strong. But then you look at what well, actually, there's a swap up. Hold on. Bravoyo has moved away. Doesn't want the Star-Lord, doesn't want the self-res, and I think without a Mantis in play, that sort of does make sense. We're instead going to the Namor combo, very strong on defense. Mr. Donuts, though, they've got a huge combo with Rocket, Punisher, and Bucky.
The thing is, I'm very surprised that wasn't what was removed, because I feel like the Namor Luna Snow still been one of the best team-ups in the entire game, and it destroyed them last round. So the fact they've allowed them to have it again is surprising. But as you said, having that potential for unlimited ammo, those ults as well are so high damage, so high impact, especially if they're buffed by Rocket. So I think that this could be a good opportunity, at least in this sort of game mode where you are moving that point, capturing it initially. A few clears can get you past quite a lot of ground.
Well, let's see if they can claim the Statue of Bass to even start moving it. Mr. Donuts on the offense, got to deal with quite a lot of defensive setup from oMxPKc. Initial fight goes the way of Cloak and Dagger. In fact, with Fumers taken out, the portal used alongside the turret for massive damage. And that will be a healer dropped out of the game for at least now, but the quick res from Mansloot keeps him in the fight, and so he's able to get right back in to the mix. Benji with the pick off. It doesn't matter what what Vanguard he's on. Apparently, he'll still be connecting. And with Fervoyo taking down Bucky, Mr. Donuts are forced into a reset. This was a nice try to start with, especially with the thing being brought back up by Rocket's revive, but they're going to have to wait a moment before they can confidently push back in.
Luckily, at this first point, it always does feel like you can get back into position so quickly, and your opponents, if they lose anyone, it is a long route back towards the site. You've got to walk all the way back around. Still looking to try and fight on the high ground. That's the thing. Normally, you'd at least see a player or two down on that site. Benji, I respect the goal. He's just right in their faces. I think maybe realizing at this stage that he is that guy. And straight out of there with the Punisher. This is where the mass damage can come in. That will be the clear onto Zaza. But it is only the one.
Yeah, the infinite ammo got him a lot of charge earlier on. Mansloot with a big pick, though. Tank taken down, will be revived. I said he was earlier, but I think he was just out of range. So that's still online and then used here. Infinite ammo online for Rocket. Needs to be thrown in fairly soon. Bucky in the back line, quite low. Big dive coming out of Fumers, getting right up and in their faces. And the ultimate activated. The dance was in play, but they're charged up and ready to fight even with healer ults. You will not escape the damage of Mr. Donuts. And that is a massive take. The statue will start to move.
Yeah, I think this is exactly what I was talking about with the build-up of ultimates. They managed to get that opening pick off the final judgment, but from then onwards with clobbering time, leaving the remainder stunned, that's an easy clear. And the thing is, to get that first point done, to get the objective moving, they can now start that cycle once again. Look to build them up, because the defense have theirs online. The problem is it's picking the right moment to give them enough of a reset, because at this point they're just going to be right back on the point again.
That hit scan's crazy when we're on with Punisher. It's just shredding them. The infinite ammo coming through as well is not going to make it any easier on the other side. Good damage being done, but the heals are there for Mr. Donuts. Backline not being attacked in the same way as we've seen before, but the front line certainly is. Benji dropping Fumers. Rez still online, so he's going to get a second lease of life with the ult used by Syx. The judge is here. The jury's made their verdict, and the executioner's getting to work. Lots of damage put out. 2 kills, and alongside Dr. Strange, they just sent them into a panic. Mansloot uses the ult, goes for the quick activation, bringing the team back into play, and Cloak and Dagger heals them right up alongside the Soul Bond. That's wonderful way to reset. This could have been a massive amount of movement for Mr. Donuts, but instead they've got to fight all over again. A refreshed force on the other side, but still picked off, at least for the first. A lot of danger on this close fight for Storm, and oh, that is not looking good. Fumers and Phaeton taking a double, and although it's returned for one, I even wonder if Rocket, no, he can't get the res online, but never mind, he won't need it. Mr. Donuts are rolling.
Yeah, that's the thing. I feel like these last couple of fights have been quite disjointed for oMX. Like, this was multiple strategist ultimates thrown in, but not where the majority of the team were actually in position. I think it was the fate of both worlds and Eternal Bond both gone within a matter of seconds, but no real ability to activate on top of it. They've also again gone back to having that solo Vanguard. Only one in play right now. Benji with lion's share on his back, and oh, we see the Squirrel Girl return for this final fight on the point.
Yeah, it's the triple heals again, you know, for oMxPKc realizing that they need those ultimates to be able to fight back. Zaza Demon's 95% at least. There could be a way back in fairly soon. Mansloot was about to go down, uses the tsunami here and now, but being dove on and will be taken out. A big pick for Mr. Donuts. The res as well on the Syx keeps the numbers in their favor, but a big push from Fervoyo. He's in there for one, doing a lot of damage, but now the judge, jury, executioner popped. A roll from the side of Mr. Donuts. You'd imagine somehow, though, Fervoyo is staying online. The movement alongside the heals have kept him healthy, and now the ult farmed up 99% and active, ready to roll. It's all going to be down to Syx, whether he can actually land these kills in return, and now he's being dealt with, so there's no chance. It's Freelo for Fervoyo, and that's going to buy them a lot of time.
Kept alive by Loki, and more importantly, That Galactic Legend doing enough damage to force them off the point. Finally stalling Mr. Donuts, because ever since they've had it, it has been a rolling push towards this final point. But as we know, on a lot of maps, those remaining chokes get more and more difficult. The defenders spawning closer and closer, and a wipe of sorts almost needed. This fight starting to get a little bit more awkward. The damage boost is helping, but I think there's counters in play with the healing ultimate available. That fate of both worlds stopping them in their tracks. Sorry, the eternal bond. Well, again, it's going to have to be a reset, have to be a fallback for the side of Mr. Donuts.
Take a look, though, what Mr. Donuts have to work with. 4 ultimates in play. Aggressive can recover if things go wrong, and I think we're going to get a portal into an Eye of Agamotto here. And she's going to have to be on point with that shield. There's a lot of squishies floating around, and if they're stunned in the open, this will not be a fight that lasts very long already. The backline take. Mr. Donuts going for the flank, and they've managed to isolate the Vanguard. But look at the response. The tsunami for damage, and they're picked off by all that damage. The reward that oMxPKc get for playing this composition. It's a little harder for Benji being the solo tank, but they're certainly not pulling any punches when it comes to the fights.
This is the thing. The idea was they wanted to split the defense. They could basically get in behind, and then anybody who respawned would have to go back through the attacker side. The problem is they got split up themselves. Again, we're going to see that Galactic Legend thrown through. Last time doing so much damage, but the fate of both worlds is going to deny pretty much everything. The Eye of Agamotto, though, is so strong, but still, that ultimate remains online. Benji may have caught them, but it doesn't matter, and now the response comes through. Everything being thrown at this fight. The Kraken impact to take down the majority. The attackers have finally found that clear. That time is low. The defenders will look to come back at them.
They will, but you look at Brazzle, ult online. That's going to make things quite difficult as Zaza Demons comes in, pops the ultimate, and steals Luna Snows. The dance is commenced, and it could be their last dance on the side of oMxPKc. We're in overtime. The winner of this fight will take it, will set the boundary for the second half, and it's a great pick by Mansloot. Unreturned on the other side. Overtime ticking. They've got to get boots on the ground. They're being pushed back. They're being pushed off the payload, and it's a huge fight for oMxPKc. 4 players still alive on the other side, but they were nowhere near the Statue of Bast.
Yeah, the decent recovery. I think especially after losing a very, very late team fight, we saw Mr. Donuts basically just ult spam. The use of that Kraken impact in combination with an Eye of Agamotto, it was everything thrown in that fight. So the fact that they were able to get back into position, Loki stealing that fate of both worlds as well, which gives you that extra little bit of a boost to get back in time. They've managed to deny their opponents from at least completing the full journey all the way to the end. But now that's their goal. That's where they have to get to. They could close this one out in a 2-0 fashion, set themselves up nicely moving into the next round, but it's a lot easier said than done.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's quite a distance to push that statue. For those of you who have played quite a bit of ranked, you'll know exactly how frustrating this first point can be. For us, it was, oh my goodness. We never made it past this point for the first probably 40 or 50 times we played the map. I don't know what it was. It just tends to be so hard to get through that choke point. We'll see if it's the same situation now that oMxPKc are on that attack. Looking at comp, not much is going to change for them. Mr. Donuts.
They've gone for that Namor now. Right, it's back in play for both sides in combo with that Luna Snow. So clearly feeling that, especially on the defense, I can understand it. That's where you can have those set up.
Yeah, and you can see the value of Bucky, right? Winter Soldier, he's being swapped over to. Sykes was playing the Punisher before, but now decides to take Bucky. It's just the more important of the two, even without Rocket. Such a strong hero. Big fight up top. Really taking the congestion to another level. Usually a more passive play, but Mr. Donuts say they want to get involved. They're expecting this little wraparound as well as oMxPKc go around the world, they're kind of just they're really rapid. They're going up the stairs, they're taking the high ground, or at least they're gonna try to. Great damage by Voyo. That's a massive pick, and without the rocket there'll be no instant res. That's a player down for the fight, a tank down, and with the thing being your space maker, they're just invading the space of Mr. Donuts. Strange grabs one, and that might cause a little bit of a problem if he wasn't just being chased down. Great damage.
Benji's been fantastic with a lot of those final hits, those eliminations, and now again they've left this defense so segmented, some coming in from one direction, some from the other. It's going to be problematic to try and even get back in before the site is taken. That was very quick. You talk about the struggles that can be had for getting that first point. Well, oMxPKc made that look incredibly easy.
Yeah, the round the world really worked out for them this time. The portal just to be an annoyance as well. It's not going to be used, not going to be taken. Of course, Mr. Donuts want a full reset. They'll play this one a little bit more passive. And with 4:38 on the clock, yeah, the first challenge
they use
already
no ults
overcome
as well. They've got basically everything still to come going into this next fight. It's looking to be that trade out. The Kraken impact has worked wonders again. It's already going to be a response in terms of the eternal bond to try and keep them standing. As Namor will throw those tridents, just trying to, in fact, get rid of the counterpart squids. The thing is, they haven't been delayed. They haven't been stopped. The horn will be blown. That will get them out at least ahead in terms of the doppelganger trade. The Eye of Agamotto's caught a couple of players, but they are still alive.
Yeah, the heals were enough to sustain, at least for that moment. Mr. Donuts pushing them back off the statue. oMxPKc will take a reset. They've got themselves big ultis, like you said. Still with the Loki online. A horn of their own set to blow. And for Mr. Donuts, you can see they're quite spread, thankfully. It is going to be a Luna Snow ultimate that gets stolen by Zaza Demons. This is just a space-taking ultimate for them, but they're fighting inside of it, blowing the horn down onto aggressive and eliminating a healer in the back line, slowing the heals for a moment. The Cloak and Dagger ultimate put through to try to stem the bleeding, and it looks like it's working wonders. Fumers with a double pickup, clobbering them and leaving oMxPKc with a reset.
Yeah, those haymakers, just the pullback punches, seem to do so much damage if you can get into those close quarters, and that's exactly what they've been doing. Now we mentioned it, those ultimates have been utilized. Obviously still some coming back online. I'm looking at that Squirrel Tsunami. It's had far more impact in map number 1 than I was ever expecting it to, but when they got that first point, there was 5 minutes left on the clock. Mitch, half of that's already gone.
Yeah, it's very much ticking away at this point. 2.5 on the clock as Kraken is having the impact it needs. Massive damage from Syx, and we mentioned, you know, he was playing the Punisher before alongside Bucky and Rocket Raccoon. It's a massive combination, and they come in here protecting the Bucky, planning to play it even if they don't run that comp in this second half, and you see exactly why. Solid damage output round to round, second to second, minute to minute, but once the ult comes through, that wins you fights.
Luckily for oMx, they still had plenty of time remaining on that clock. Zaza not particularly close to his ultimate being online, but the fate of both worlds, I believe, available. And for either side, again, though, it's this denial. The horn is doing so much in terms of eliminating those strategists. That's already going to set them up nicely for the initial team fight. Benji doing what he can. Again, the fate of both worlds utilized to keep them standing, keep them fighting. But once more, there's a response in the form of that eternal bond. It will keep this attacking side back at least a little bit longer, and from 5 minutes, we're now almost at the 1 minute mark, and they are still in the same spot.
Oh, that's a great pull for Voyo. Makes it out though. great healing. Luna Snow focusing, keeping him alive, and that gets the Galactic Legend online and activated. Huge damage. They're following up with a kill. Mr. Donuts losing their tank. He can portal himself back in. Clobber in time. Fumers just about staying alive. Down to 102 health, but just about healed back up. That gets them to space. They fight right back into it, and with just a couple meters in it, they are pushed back. They are stopped. The Kraken impact almost felt like seasoning at the end because the fight was won just before. No way. The portal in their spawn, it doesn't get them, surely.
The Eye of Agamotto might, though. It's entrapped them all. That is one of the biggest ults I think we've ever seen. Just catching them as they tried to leave. They were looking to group up, come back for another team fight, and instead, it now becomes 2 players already down. Zaza even switched up to a Spider-Man just for the extra pace to try and get back to that payload, try and get things moving once again. But now with seconds left, they have to win this fight.
But T'Challa's looking for his statue, and he might have to come search himself. This is dominance from Mr. Donuts. They have turned the tide indeed. And a big ult from Cloak and Dagger makes this final fight so difficult. It's going to be returned on the side of oMxPKc, but everyone is dead, so there's no one to sustain. Eliminations across the board, and they failed to push the payload all the way to the end on their attack, but their defense was even stronger. Well played by Mr. Donuts. We're going all the way to a 3rd map in this series.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm surprised, actually, that Syx isn't the one that's ended up with that MVP. Obviously, I think Fumas had a great game, but I'm just thinking of the amount of impact that came out of the Kraken. Just being able to just wipe out squads all the way throughout. Obviously, the HP that's also removed just from a connection is enough. But I guess when Fumas has come out with only 2 less final hits, which when you think about how aggressive you need to be on the thing, and that is absurd.
Well, Syx also with the ultimate had so much impact, often off the back of a clobbering time or other stunning ultimates.
True.
And the fact that, like you use Kraken's impact to such great effect and still just 2 behind is your Vanguard in final hits. Like you said, that's incredible from Fumers, and I feel like there were a lot of fights where it looked like it was going the other way, and then he would just run through their back line.
Because obviously you don't stop swinging. You don't stop swinging the whole time, so it looks mental, but
it doesn't look as bad as Zaza Demons with 0% accuracy. That's something I don't think I've seen before. Just the nature of it. But yeah, again, we see this. One thing that I'll say is that it seems a little bit more controlled on rather oMxPKc, I suppose, seem less controlled when things aren't going well. Like Mr. Donuts, they don't have these frantic comp swaps, but then when we look at the other side, it seems like once things stop going their way, there is just this crazy switch up that they're going for every time. So like constantly swapping up what roles they're playing. We had the one that really surprised me was when we ended up with a triple Vanguard, but I'm guessing that was just the transitional stage between still having the group Magneto they started with and Zaza Demons, who was playing the DPS. This is on the first map, going on to the thing. So there's just that little bit of before people go down or before their ults are used, they're not going to swap, and then they do a little bit later on. The final map that we're going on to will be Shin Shibuya for Convergence over in Tokyo 2099. And this, again, another payload push point. I'm very curious to see if our bans are going to remain the same, because it was a strange setup from Mr. Donuts, taking Magneto and Groot out of play.
Yeah, I wonder if the strange might be met by the opposing side, because I think that was like towards the end, that crazy final portal, just the Eye of Agamotto them in spawn.
That was nuts.
That was just nasty. So I wonder if there will almost be like okay, you're gonna ban our Vanguards, we're gonna take yours out as well. It could be a good response, or even the thing. I think if you're coming out with a Vanguard MVP, I'm banning that. I'm taking it out. I don't want to play against that again. So we'll have to wait and see what decisions are going to be made, what adaptations can come through, because obviously for either of these teams, this is crunch time. A victory here takes you forward.
Well, that really is it. You know, the thing starting out today, I expected to see a little bit more respect in the ban phases, but especially when there's Vanguard bans, though, the way that they were, understandable. Bucky taken out of play. The Winter Soldier caused big problems, and you know, we saw it the first time around. Now Syx is well, he's going to have a tougher time, but did hover the Psylocke to start with on map 1. Maybe that'll be left open for him here. That is a strange ban, and I think really just showing the impact.
Squirrel Girl.
That Squirrel. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah. Well played, Tom. Well played.
And then say that to me.
Okay, right. Well, Squirrel Girl being banned, yes, that's a very nice, a very interesting ban indeed. A very unusual one. I'll use that word. Is that better, Tom?
Yes.
Because you know, it's just not a hero that we've seen have a lot of impact previously, but today in this game in particular, absolutely, and I think has been making a resurgence in ranked as well. But you know, I did not expect to see a Squirrel Girl ban today at all. So a little bit of left field. Magneto protection and Psylocke protection as well. So I would be shocked then if Syx is not playing Psylocke. And honestly, Tom, I'm a little scared of how strong this is going to look. They banned it in map 1. Granted, it wasn't played in the last, but now the protection, Syx must have something crazy up his sleeve.
It's also, no, correct me if I'm wrong, it's Mr. Donuts who are the ones that have protected it. So, although Syx is also hovering it, so it's, I don't know. I think it's going to be very interesting to see if maybe the other side look to actually bring it out. I also want to, like, Benji protecting the Magneto makes a lot of sense. Like, this is something that I think on the first matchup was really impactful. I think especially, again, just removing a lot of those ultimates, like, from play. I think we saw it so regularly that the fate of both worlds would just be almost spammed, and just being able to remove one of those in the fights became so important for them. I think that's what changed that first set of maps. So I think they're coming into this one now. Oh, I always wait. I have to wait a little bit because this first 30 seconds, I'm just looking at like, okay, they've got triple strategists, but not necessarily the ones you'd expect. Like, normally you want something with a little bit more damage. I guess you could see that from the Mantis, maybe a few self boosts in there, but I wouldn't be surprised if we're going to see a swap, because this right now is a triple strategist, triple Vanguard, 0 duelists.
5, 4, 3, 2,
yeah.
You have to stop.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah, okay, that was a swap. It was bait.
As well. Okay, let's put this plainly. Benji
all
was
about
shredding
Benji
already, and now he's not got that buff anymore. They've swapped back to the triple tank. I don't know what's going on.
I think they just gave it to him for the first fight.
Yeah. Literally the first engagement. That's an interesting swap up. Yeah, and now you're gonna have the triple tank with the space already taken. They're through the choke point. They're fighting up close. Syx though really is the focal point for me. I want to see what is up his sleeve. Playing this Psylocke. Nice. Trying to at the start, but now we're getting to see it. Immediate pick off onto Luna Snow. Gonna stall out the buildup of that ultimate, and already 70% on the Dance of Butterflies. You know, this we had a big focus in the dance, the fate of both worlds, but well, there's going to be a different dance today. 80% already built up, and damage going the way of Mr. Donuts across the board. Big pickup with Benji and Mansloot down, and Syx hunting to find that extra healer. It looks like they've got their sights set, and well, it's not even the hold on. Big fight back.
Zaza. He's done magnificent work being able to at least clear some of that backline, especially if you have to bear in mind the attack are going to be able to get there so much quicker. Response again from Syx, though. This guy has just been causing them so many problems, and although the point seemed like it was going to be almost done, Fumas as well has just come out with a massive Groot ult. That's 3 quick kills off the back of it.
Yeah, he pulled them all in from what we could see on the site and decimated them. There's somewhat of a duelist Groot, I suppose, in play. oMxPKc forced into a reset, and still big ultimates online for Mr. Donuts. Meteor M alongside having the more. This could be a big problem. Meteor M comes online for Benji. Fate of both worlds activated. As Luna Snow pushes towards the point, but it's going to be responded on. keeping the ult favor to Mr. Donuts. Down to the butterflies being farmed up, and big picks as well. That's healers out of play just onto Luna, and it doesn't look like she's lasting long indeed. Shut down. This is Mr. Donuts with another big stop in the play, and with a minute 40 on the clock, we're getting real close to crunch time for that attacking side.
Yeah, I think again we've seen them try and utilize this triple Vanguard, triple strategist, but Syx is doing an incredible job of just removing some of those strategists. The whole idea is you just can't be killed because you have so many people alive, but the fact is, in this case, the KOs haven't been able to come through. Syx continuing to cause them so many issues, and they've actually had to try and almost match him pound for pound by pulling in a Psylocke of their own.
Oh, Fumers, he's getting aggressive in that choke point. The ult key, it's being hovered. They're not grouped up enough just yet for Voyo trying to match Syx at his own game, and will do it. Taking the pick, that's huge. One big duel is taken out of play, and the main thing being Syx has constantly been taking one of these healers down. Now that won't be possible. Mansloot has a nice defensive ult to keep them in it, but it's used too late. Mansloot activates the ult, goes down immediately, and Mr. Donuts wipe them out. Eliminations across the board. Hold on, it's a Luna Snow duelist. That's a dangerous fight to take up against the Psylocke. For Voyo, smelling that blood in the water, takes the pick. And only the one though, and I'm not sure that's going to be worth it if Voyo goes down, and they will.
I want to give a shout out to Phaeton as well. A lot of the time I question how much value the Horn can bring, but I feel like he's been able to eliminate a strategist every single time. An important fight for Syx, damage done, but no pick to be found. Looking to try and clear a little bit more, but he has been an absolute demon. There was a reason this Psylocke was consistently removed. The fate of both worlds will keep him standing as he continues forward with that dance. And this is looking like another complete wipeout. The first point isn't even going to be taken.
Wow. What a performance here today. Again, we see this frantic comm switch up, looking for an identity that can break through this sturdy wall of a defense from Mr. Donuts. They put up barricades, and oMxPKc could not break through them. 1-1 in terms of maps, but now the pressure is truly on Tom. For oMxPKc, they're on the defense, and if Mr. Donuts managed to find 2 ticks on that point, it is over and ending here. Then we look at where the bans are at, and actually with Winter Soldier taken out of play, we're still going to see the Rocket alongside Punisher from oMxPKc. This is good with the turret to defend in the back line, with Rocket to pop a res if you lose a player, and for Zaza Demons to use that infinite ammo to take picks. The problem is, Tom, if that point is taken, this is not a comp that's going to have a lot of maneuverability to get back in.
They can literally just save up ultimates as well, like getting 2 seconds. When you know that that's all you need to do, you can take big risks, big gambles. And I'll also say as well, Syx, Psylocke, it feels like it's in the name. I do not believe there's going to be a moment where this guy doesn't get them the site. Like, he was truly phenomenal over on that first half. The whole point of having that combo of tanks and healers is that you shouldn't be able to just wipe them out easily. And every time he just eliminated 2 of their strategists, and that felt like it was fight over.
Well, this is that thing, right? Syx is just going to be behind looking for those healers.
Yeah.
They're walling them off. They're literally having to use Groot walls to try to block this wraparound from Mr. Donuts. Already, though, they're going to make it through, using a wall of their own as a ramp, and the high ground taken. That's kind of where Zaza Demons wants to be as well, but the infinite ammo used down in the point, and Zaza Demons goes up top. runs out of the infinite ammo, and that's not a good play. Dive in from Sylex as well to punish the res. And now, where do you go? You've lost a player. You've now lost a healer. You've lost two, in fact, with Mansloot gone and Luna Snow not far behind. They're all in the spawn, and they won't be back anytime soon. That point is taken with ease by Mr. Donuts. They started this out 1-0 down, but they've reverse swept into the series looking wonderful. And I think it seems to be a mistake to let Sylex play that Psylocke. What a performance.
That's the thing. It felt like a pick your poison towards the end. A back-to-back MVP for Fumas as well.
Wow.
Some of the best Vanguard play I think we've seen overall, like even going back to last week's Invitational, 21-0.
And you know what? If this was, you look at the previous map, sorry, and we had the Thing being played by Fumers. And if you're performing on the Thing, the meta's kind of setting you up to do that. That's what I expect you to do.
Yeah.
But doing it here on the Groot as well, not that Groot is in that bad of a spot,
your opponent had 3 Vanguards at one point, so they're all going to be up in your face.
Oh yeah.
Clearing them can be so difficult. So his role was basically to be the distraction that was necessary for Phaeton and Sylex to be able to pick off those strategies. Well, if you're so aggressively fighting and you don't go down the entire game, you have done an incredible job. Like, that is someone who knows when to engage, when to disengage, when to play around those healing ultimates. Like, that's a really impressive performance. But I do think as well, you have to give a shout out to those DPS players. I think that, again, like, the amount of impact that we saw from Psylocke just generally, but then I also think that that's the most strategist kills I've seen from a Horn. Like, just being, okay, I pick my moment. And I don't think it was missed throughout almost the entire game. It was like, okay. And that could be difficult to do. Like, if you don't have a damage boost of sorts, which, okay, at times they probably could have had, you need to get that very centralized. Otherwise, you can see that strategist survive the amount of damage.
Well, I guess there's a good reason that Mr. Donuts were kind of our favorites coming in. They look good. They play good. And I got to say, after the first point, it looked like they were more controlled. They had their ideas and they stuck to them, whereas the other squad constantly had to shift it up to look for solutions, whereas the solution seemed pretty apparent to Mr. Donuts. Now, moving into the next matchup that we have for you folks at home, this is going to be an interesting one indeed. Weekend Boys playing off against 4xGEKV. I got to say, the names really roll off the tongue, don't they? Top 64 for 4xGEKV.
Sorry, Nip for short.
Nip for short. You want to go with Nip for short, and Weekend Boys, Weekend for short. That one adds up. That one's pretty easy. So I think you guys at home will be able to follow. Looking at Nip, they've been top 64 in season 0 and season 1. So this is a squad that has a lot of experience with running deep into this tournament, and already I believe this will be a new accolade for them. Then they're in the top 32, and we'll see if they can push even further than that. We're gonna go right in to our hero select, and again, I'm sort of excited to draw the comparisons of the last game.
I think I have a feeling that first we might be viewing some highlights of the previous match, so we'll be back after that.